All right, we are on. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another I Honor Me chat. This is episode 18 that we are talking about I Honor Me through transitions again. And this is part two with my special guest, Miss Yolanda Taylor. And I introduced her last week, but we're going to do it again because some people might not have met her. So let's go back through this again. Miss Yolanda Taylor is the youngest daughter of the late Reverend O.G. Motley and the late Reverend Arlene Motley Spells, and she comes from a musical family. They all sing and play instruments and or write. And like I mentioned last week, her voice is phenomenal. This woman can sing, okay? That's just one of her many gifts, but this woman can sing, okay? She's talented. She's a proud mother of Crystal, Ryan, Alexis, David, and Jacoby, and the grandmother of one amazing grandson, Aristal. Yolanda is also the fur mom of Bentley and Bailey. She just posted them the other day. Those are her babies. And she has been married to her best friend, my friend, Mr. David Taylor, for over 30 years. She also holds 2 master's degrees, and she has worked in higher education and in the healthcare field. But she is most important, or she's most happy about and thrilled about her relationship with God. So help me welcome Miss Yolanda Taylor once again. She is a phenomenal, phenomenal woman. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Before I get too started, I took my notes this time. So I want to remind you guys, take your notes. Make sure you have your notebook out to take notes. I will be taking notes. Make sure you have something to drink because this is going to be another phenomenal session, an empowering session. So again, welcome, Yolanda. Thank you so much. Last week was such a powerful session that I wanted to, we didn't get to everything. And it's okay because I think the way that the flow and the things that were brought up needed to be brought up this week. So I asked her to come back and she joined us yet again for another session. And again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be with the I Honor Me community. So welcome again. And yeah, guys, so we're just gonna recap. We're gonna do a little recap and then just continue the conversation from last week. So Yolanda, I'm gonna start off with asking you just simply how was your week concerning. We'll start with practicing the I Honor Me recommendations that you gave us. So I'm going to recap that. And the recommendations that you gave us was to set boundaries, say no, and don't feel bad about saying no. The second thing that you gave was your prayer life and your relationship with God, and to find time for the stillness to hear from God. And then the third recommendation you gave us was to find something to laugh about, that you needed to have humor in your day. So tell me, recap how that's gone for you over the last week.
First, I would like to say thank you so much for allowing me to come back. I know you have probably so many people that you could have had on, and I am honored. I am so honored that we're doing part 2. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
After the show last week, I Honor Me took on a different meaning. And I think it took on a different meaning because I learned something about myself. I learned, and that's something that you've been saying, part of your affirmations and your post, and being intentional about honoring ourselves.
Yes.
This week, I think it was more of life, life is happening. I need to do this, I have to do that, and not really focusing or being intentional on the purpose of honoring myself.
Yes.
I was able to, I shared a little bit, and I'm not going to get into it because we're going to talk about so many things. But I was able to join in on a group of women, sit in on a group of women talking on Tuesday, which really brought back that honoring me, because after the show on Thursday, you go to work, you're doing things on the weekend, it's football for us, and life is just rolling. But it allowed me to step back and say, wait, you're not honoring yourself. Setting your boundaries. So I did. I had to set my boundaries at work. I said no to something, and I felt so good doing that. And, my prayer life, praying every day, yes.
Yes.
And finding the humor. I mean, believe it or not, my brother teased me about this, but my dogs, I find humor in them because my girl dog is so funny. Just finding those little moments
Yes.
because
Yes.
life is short. And anytime you can find the time to laugh, anytime you make space and time for God to hear his voice, and anytime you're setting those boundaries, you're honoring, in my world, you're honoring yourself.
Yeah. I love it. So thank you for sharing that. I feel like, and like you said, we are going to get into it, but I feel like sometimes when you kind of put something out there, you're challenged by it, right? So this whole,
Yes.
even for me, I honor me is, I say it all the time to the community, it's for me first. It really is. And then,
Yes.
I'm empowered, and these chats every week do something for me. And I know it does something for the people that watch, but also, my guests. But
Mhm.
I feel like when you put stuff in the atmosphere, like, I am going to honor myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to set boundaries. It's like, okay, then it's like the challenge is on. Like,
Yes.
are you really going to honor yourself? Are
Yes.
you really going to set boundaries like you mentioned? Are you really
Mhm.
going to spend time with God like you mentioned? Are you really going
Mhm.
to say no? Are you really going to laugh?
Right.
And so intentionality and that word has been, whoa, so big for me, because it really does. It takes the
Yes.
thought and saying, yes, I'm going to be intentional about this. Yeah. And there are challenges. Life is gonna life. And again, I
Mhm.
feel like even more so, it's like, really, are you really practicing what you preach?
Right. Right.
Right? Are you
Which is
really
difficult.
it is. It is.
Ask a preacher.
Let's let's
Ask. Yes.
yes. And so, and for me, I'm really huge on, practicing what I teach.
Mhm.
And so, since we're on this, I'm just going to say this too. I felt like, I talk about I honor me and different things, and even when my mom was on, she was talking about you need to be physical. So I made myself work out this week, and I didn't want to. I did, but I didn't, because I
Mhm.
knew I was going to be really sore. And you and I talked about this,
Mhm.
but I knew the reason what my push was I am teaching to honor yourself. I am teaching to honor your body. I am teaching and putting that out there. So I have to do it for me.
Mhm.
So I also kind of challenged myself this week to be intentional
Mhm.
about honoring myself and putting those things in place. So I'm really happy and proud to hear
Yeah.
that you did that and work. And I think that's so important too.
Yes.
And you do. It's like after you do the thing that you're intentional about doing, you feel good. You feel
Yeah.
empowered. You
Yeah.
feel like, yes, this is an accomplishment. Yeah, I'm proud of myself.
Mhm. I have control.
Yes.
Because so many times we allow things and people to control us. And, just a simple no is huge. And
Yes.
for somebody out there who is so used to saying yes all the time at work, oh, I'll do it. Oh, no
Yeah.
worry, I'll
Yeah.
get it done. Oh, oh, well, okay, I'll do it. You can, I can take on that other project while you have like 10 other projects.
Hmm.
Um, Setting those boundaries, it's so huge because then people start to respect who you are,
Absolutely.
understand that you're valuable, but you're not a pushover.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I thought that was, and I'm going to tell you right now, saying no and really kind of stepping away, I'm going to say this, I was blessed by it.
Yes. Yes.
I was, I was really blessed by it because I felt like it's a part of me being obedient to
Yeah.
God, in that way, and things, it may look crazy, weird, like, why are you saying this? This could, mess up something, why are you doing this? That they can look at you in a different way. But understanding those boundaries at work, at
Yes.
home, with
Yes.
friends, with family, it is necessary sometimes. And I'll say it again, for people pleasers, please learn how to honor yourself by setting boundaries.
Yes. And again, boundaries are for you. And it's,
Yes.
sometimes I think we can even make things complicated. And a boundary can simply be no. And
Yes.
no with a period. I don't have to give a list of explanations. Again, this is
Right.
work and home life and whatever. It goes for all. If I say no, or, again, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you are overdoing something. And
Right.
I wanted to go back to you saying, that you can control that. I think we sometimes focus too much on things we can't control and the things that we
Mm.
shouldn't be trying to control, and managing the things that, instead of doing the things that we can control. Right. And so, I think a
I'm a
lot of us
control
have,
freak.
yes, I think a lot of us have, and,
We
and,
have.
and, and honestly, I think a part of it is derived from trauma and experience. Right.
Yeah.
And so you develop, okay, well, because I couldn't control what happened there or how that
Mhm.
happened, then I think the level of control amplifies, and then you start to say, well, then I'm going to control everything. And that's why you
Yes.
a control freak, really, as a coping mechanism, and not necessarily something you wanted to do. It's just a trauma response, and it's a way to survive.
Right.
Right. But if we look at really the things that we can control, and should focus, especially like we were talking about last week, if somebody is in the thick of a situation or recently out of a situation, really what can you control? And so that's why setting the boundaries,
Hmm.
um, me telling myself I'm going to go work out because
Hmm.
I'm telling people, and I know I need to do it for myself, but that's something I can control. I
Right.
can control saying, you know what, I don't necessarily feel like it, but I have to do this to honor myself and to
Hmm.
honor my values, to honor my
Right.
beliefs. I can control working out.
Right.
I can
Right.
control going to bed early or going to bed at a decent time to say that
Hmm.
I need to get my rest. And it's funny because I actually recently had this conversation the other day about my Sunday naps.
Hmm.
Um, my Sunday naps are imperative. Okay, my after church naps are imperative,
Yes.
and they have been for years. But especially serving at church, my
Hmm.
naps are important. And I'm not going to go to additional services. I'm not going to do additional things on Sunday that I don't want to do. And most of the time, nothing's happening until after my nap, anyways. Because and
Yes.
I take that very serious because we run all week, right? You work,
Yes.
you run all week. The weekends are busy. And then, if you're in church or you serve at church, you can get, and then you're back right at the rat race on Monday. And
Yep.
so that's a way of honoring myself. There
Yes.
is no pushback. That's important to me. I'm setting the
Right.
boundary that my naps are crucial on
Yep.
Sunday.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I think that's good. And again, that's something I can control, right? That's
Hmm.
within my control, is to say I'm setting this boundary. Um, like you said, I'm going to be intentional about praying,
Hmm.
and I'm going to find laughter. And I think the laughter thing kind of, for me, goes coincide with even gratitude, right?
Yes.
Because the same hormones and the same feelings that you get from
Yes.
laughter,
You.
gratitude go hand in
Yes.
hand.
Yep. Yes, that's so true. I'm glad you said that because I don't think we equate one to the other.
Right,
When
right.
you're grateful, your heart is just full and it's almost like I'm grateful and I'm smiling because I'm saying I'm so grateful,
Yes,
and laughing. I mean, we all have our, sitcoms and we have little things,
yes,
but
yes,
even finding the humor in yourself,
yes,
like doing,
yes,
I'm not going to get into it, but yesterday I did something and oh my God, I was like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden, David and I literally just started laughing because
yeah,
it was something I did. And I'm like, I'm going to just say this. I'm like, oh my God, I have to be on with Deborah tomorrow. Oh my God, how am I going to do that? And it was just something that happened. And we
yeah,
just started laughing like so
yes,
hard. Like this is so, like anybody else would have freaked out and been like, oh my God, like, would taken it so seriously. And we just started laughing and it,
yes.
it helps. I really believe it helps like
It
heals.
does.
It helps you move on from things, laughter. And also I love that because I say I'm grateful all the time. I
Hmm.
say that so much. God, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
Yes,
Even for the little, oh my God, I'm so grateful for this.
yes,
Um, And they do go hand in hand. I love
They
that.
they
I
do.
love that.
Yeah, they do. And I've taken several trainings and classes and concerning empowerment and all this, stuff with the mind. And they talk about that. They talk about gratitude so much. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we don't honor gratitude. And I actually taught a session on I Honor Me about gratitude and how literally it will change your perspective and it'll change your mindset.
Yes.
But it mentioned that even saying gratitude affirmations or statements, but it was talking about saying stuff that you're grateful for, but smiling, looking at it. Literally said, look at yourself in the mirror and smile.
Yes.
Your mind does not know when you're doing that all the hell that you're really going through. It
Mm-hmm.
literally can't focus on both. It
Yep.
has to pick one or the other.
Yes.
So
Wow.
it's yes. So I encourage with the laughter and the gratitude, um say some gratitude affirmations in the mirror. Just
Yeah.
look in the mirror and just say, I am grateful to be alive, or I'm grateful, for this whatever the opportunity, just whatever. You're grateful for your dogs, they make you laugh. And it does, it changes you. And even laughter, sometimes when I'm not in a good space, I don't want to watch anything unless it's going to make me laugh.
Yeah.
um like I
Yes.
can't think of the name of the show, but the guys that do tricks on each other, the four friends that always do crazy tricks, I'll just watch them because they're hilarious. It's
Yes.
hilarious, and they're gonna do something stupid and I'm gonna laugh, right?
Yeah.
But again, when you do that, it's a way of honoring yourself. I think sometimes, and you kind of said this, I think, on the last episode, we get so serious.
Yes.
um and I also think a part of the seriousness has to do with sometimes our upbringing, but also sometimes trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't realize that it's okay to let go. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to have fun. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And really doing those things will start to change you from the inside out, really.
Right. Right.
um and your mindset.
Right. I totally agree. I think um, focusing on the positive. We say that it's like a cliche,
It is.
but it's
Yeah,
so true.
it
And I
is.
love, and I mean, I follow, of course, I follow you, and I love the affirmations that I thank you. Please never stop posting them,
Oh,
never, because
thank you.
you'll get me. I
Yes,
will
I see it.
love it all the
Yes,
time.
yes.
But it's so helpful. And I follow a lot of other people who are positive, and they have also affirmations, which are pretty much the same, because if you think about it, it's really just uplifting yourself.
Yes.
Um, and I know you have a lot of people watching, and whoever's going to watch later on, please, the affirmations that Deveray posts, say them out loud.
Yes.
Say them until you feel it. Say
Yes.
them until it resonates within your bones. Like
Yes.
you can't live without saying, I am enough. I am
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yes, I've been through trauma, but guess what? I'm going to get through it. I'm giving it
Yes.
a name so that I can confront it. And now that I'm going to live my life unashamed, unapologetic, happy, and with
Yes.
gratitude in my heart. I mean,
Yes.
those are important. And I know I'm not just saying this from women, from men as well.
Absolutely.
Men have been taught to be, you know,
Silent.
they've been taught not to show emotions,
Hmm.
and a lot of men don't. They don't
Hmm.
show emotions. And sometimes, we have to remind them it's okay to show your emotions. It's okay to feel good about yourself. It's okay for you to say I'm enough, because men have gone through trauma as well. I
Yes.
mean, a lot of trauma that they've been taught, do not talk about that,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
you're less than if you discuss what happened to you as a child, as a
Hmm.
teenager. You're
Yes.
hard. You need to keep that exterior up. And women, they don't want a soft man. It's not that nobody wants a soft man. We want someone who understands their emotions, and it's okay to deal with those emotions, and that
Hmm.
they're enough, and that because they're dealing with those emotions, that they're, to me, that's a strong man. That's a
Absolutely.
strong woman.
Yes.
So I encourage everyone, please, please, please follow Deborah and speak those affirmations out loud. They will. Trust me. I do it every day. Every time you post.
Wow.
They
That
help.
means so much to me. And you said quite a lot. I'm gonna start with the post. Um, Again, my 3 words are intentional, consistent, and grace. And even with my posts, there are some times, because I know there's ways I could schedule it, but there are some, and I usually plan it out. But there are some times where I'm like, oh, I don't have to do it today. But then there is something inside of me that says, I don't care if it's not the exact time of the 24-hour time, whatever the case is, you still have to post, right?
Yep.
And so it's really encouraging to hear you say that, because I still do it even when I'm exhausted, even when I'm like, I don't know what to post. Because every post that I make, um, sometimes, most time, it's not originally coming from me, but I I sit with it, and then
Mhm.
it's like God starts to give me other things to add to it. And so
Right.
again, like I say, for I honor me, it comes to me first. Usually when I look at most of my posts, I'm looking at it, and then I'm seeing, okay, this is good. This is very like empowering.
Yes.
And sometimes I tweak them to where it's where you have to say it for you, where you
Yes.
have to change the wording, because sometimes it'll say you, and I'm like, no, this needs to say I am, or this needs
Mhm.
to, because I'm like, when somebody scrolls and they read this, I want them to
Mhm.
have to say I am. I want
I
them to, you
am.
know what I mean? So
Yes.
thank you so much for saying that, because again, there are some days where I'm like, ugh, but most of the time it's something that helps me. And
Yes.
so again, even if it, like I say, if it helps one person, when it comes to whatever you're called to, your brand, your purpose, just do it, because I had no idea. And I do see that you like it, but you don't ever sometimes know the impact, right?
Yes.
And
Really
so
don't know.
that's going to lead into our next section in a minute,
Mhm.
the impact in telling your story. But I do want to mention what you said about the men, because I think that's another important thing, and that's why I say that I honor me has no name, has no face, has no
Mhm.
gender, has no age,
Mhm.
because everyone, children, boys, girls, men, women, older people, it doesn't matter. I honor me is for at whatever age you are, whatever stage you are in life,
Yes.
whatever you've experienced, whatever you've been through, it is for you, and it's for you now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, when the Lord gave it to me, he said that's the pandemic. He didn't say there was a name or a face. Now I have specific programs for different, for men, for women, for kids, but it's for everybody. The
Mhm.
affirmations has no,
Right.
it's individualized for
Yes.
you. And so when it comes to affirmations, when it comes to that stuff, yes, a lot of times men feel like that's for women, and that's why again I put it out there. This is not a women's thing, um,
Mhm.
but it's for everybody. And so
Yes.
yes, say the affirmations. There's no gender on it.
Right.
And
Right.
be okay with being vulnerable. That's it. And for men, I'm speaking to you, and I will have a man on here soon. But get to a place where you honor yourself as a man and
Mhm.
say, I I have to unlearn. I'm going to unlearn. This society thing of men can't cry, men can't have
Mhm.
emotions, men can't have feelings, men can't honor themselves,
Right. Right.
and do it. And
Yes.
so I know I'm probably gonna have my brother David on soon. I wanted to do a joint thing with you guys, but I might have to have him on separate too. But yeah, it is for men, and it's okay. And I really do think it starts with honoring themselves,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
from there saying I can honor myself by you know um, getting in what they say in tune, or what I call being emotionally intelligent,
Right.
and
Right.
realizing it is
Yes.
okay for me to have emotions. It is
Yes.
okay for me to have feelings. This is not just now. You might see me a little extra on the month, but men have emotions and feelings too. But
Yes.
because they have not necessarily been taught, or the emotions have not been cultivated, they're
Yes.
not emotionally intelligent,
Yep.
and so they ignore and dishonor their emotions and feelings, and don't feel like they can honor themselves with whatever they need to do.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
thank you for
And
mentioning that. I think that that
yeah.
was very important.
Yes, I agree. And I can't wait for you to have that male perspective on as well.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. um but you also talked about, my post, and so we're going to get into that about the impact of your story. We kind of touched on this a little bit last week about our stories and about giving things a name. And so
Mhm.
we briefly talked about before we went live about you know uh, I used to think that as long as I gave it a name, gave depression a name, gave anxiety a name, gave trauma a name, then it was going to be downhill from there. It was going to be a smooth sailing
Mhm.
ride of healing, of emotions, of triggers, of everything, right? I thought it was going to be coasting. But again, it's like I said a little earlier, when you identify and give something a name,
Mhm.
and identify it, it's like you put it in the atmosphere, and it's
Mhm.
it's it's almost like there's challenges
Yep.
associated with it.
Yes.
And so I just kind of wanted you to talk about that for a second. You mentioned some things last week, and you really delved into trauma and the root of some of the things for you. But then you also came into the knowledge of you're a trauma survivor,
Yep.
which had never been identified. So talk about
Yes.
kind of how your week has been, or how that has changed things for you.
You know, I think I said this last week and I'll say it again. I don't think I labeled myself as a survivor until I spoke with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was because, you go through the abuse, it's horrific, it's traumatizing.
Yeah.
Um, and once you feel like that part of your life is over, then you're like, okay, let me just move on.
Yeah.
You never deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I never really, I rarely talked about it. And as we were speaking earlier, I wrote this down because it hit me, and I had to like, okay, girl, don't start crying right now because we
Yeah.
haven't even started. And I said I didn't want to make my kids feel bad.
Mm.
So my first marriage, my older two children, Crystal and Ryan, are by my first husband
Mm-hmm.
who abused me. And I am the mom who never, ever, ever talked bad about their dad, never had any ill words in front of them at all. Or even, I never really even talked about it or him because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to face, what
Yes.
happened. I just
Yes.
buried it. But
Yes.
I didn't talk about it until I think my daughter, Crystal, kind of like shared some things with her. Like I said, Crystal, my two girls are pretty much like my best friends. Um, we have that mother daughter boundary. We do, but they're so. I thank God for them every day.
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to make them feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I didn't want Crystal and Ryan to feel that, okay, their dad, was this horrible person and now I'm remarried and everything is so good. I did not want my children to have that thought in their mind
Yes.
that,
Yes.
oh, I just wanted to let it die, so
Yeah.
to speak,
Mm-hmm.
move on, raise them the best way I could, love on them. If they had questions, by all means, I would answer
Yeah.
them. If
Yes.
my son came to me one time years ago, and he called me with his dad on the phone, and I mean, it was shocking to me.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to find some closure, and I'm a mom, and I'm going to do whatever I can for my children. So I spoke with him, and things didn't go so well on that call. My daughter has recently, tried to reconnect with her dad, but I love that my daughter has set boundaries even in that space.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I didn't want it to be, I wanted to be her boundaries. I didn't want it to be because I pressed upon her an image or something that I wanted to say, oh, this is your dad and this is what he did. I wanted my daughter, and she's a strong-willed young lady. Both of my girls are, but I wanted her to form that relationship within her boundaries, within how she wanted to form that relationship. And she's been able to set boundaries with him. She speaks with him when it's, necessary, when she feels like, okay, yes, I have something to say, or you're saying something productive. Let's have a conversation. And I am so proud of her. But I should have maybe have said something sooner, but I felt like if I did, and in this moment right now that I'm speaking with you, I wrote that down. I didn't want to make my kids feel bad, but in this moment, I'm actually okay with it because I felt and I feel that it was the best thing for my children to be okay, for my daughter and my son to be okay, and for them to get older and form that relationship as they see fit. I didn't want to taint their relationship. I didn't want to color it with my perspective. I wanted my children to form that themselves. And that's why I wasn't intentional about not ever speaking ill about their father.
So let me say something, because I know you're going to continue on. I just have to say this. So that is absolutely brilliant. And whoever is listening now or listens to the replay, I honor you in that. But I want you to know that that was a form of teaching your kids honor.
Wow.
Honoring themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the way of setting boundaries for the relationship.
Yes.
Had you interjected or not taught them that, then they would struggle with setting boundaries, which is about honoring yourself. So that was a form of teaching them about honor.
Yes.
But you also taught them about, what we're taught, which is honoring our parents. But you also honored yourself, because I don't think we understand sometimes that if we say too much, even though we have the right
Yes.
and have every reason to say something and cut a monkey.
Yes.
But because you didn't, because that would have caused something also inside of you. It would have been, a lot of back and forth and a lot of feelings that just don't feel good.
Yes.
Right? Because you can't have all that and have gratitude and all that bunch. It doesn't work that way. Right. So you, without knowing, honored yourself by maintaining who you are, by maintaining your character, by maintaining your values and beliefs, and not bashing and doing that, and allowing and teaching your kids, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to show you what dishonor looks like. I'm going to show you what honor myself looks like, even though it didn't have a name necessarily.
Right.
But I'm honoring myself, but I'm also teaching you how to set up honor for yourself when it comes to relationships. Whether it's a parent, whether it's a work relationship, whether it's a friendship, I'm setting you up for setting those boundaries. Because again, it starts with those root core things where we learn or don't learn or learn wrong on setting boundaries or not setting boundaries. And it's usually with it starts with a parental figure.
So true. That is so true, because they're watching us.
Absolutely.
It's not what we say. And parents, we say a lot. Oh God, we say a lot.
Yes.
I wanted my daughter and praying, oh my God, I got myself into this and this is what happened to me. Praying that my girls, find someone who loved them and understand, and watching me. And oh my God, if I could, pull my girls and call one of them right now, they will tell you that I say, all the time, follow my example on what I shouldn't have done. Not the things that I thought I did correctly. The things that I know that I did incorrectly, I'm very transparent with them. I always say, learn from me.
Yeah.
I always say that, learn from, and I'm not talking about, learn from me. This is how I did this so well. And I went to, no. I said, learn from me those things that I did not do well. Learn those from me and do not repeat them, please. Because I know you're going to experience life. There are some things that mom, dad cannot be there and cannot help you. You're going to have to understand how to navigate yourself. But in the moment and some of the decisions you make, hear my voice. Learn the mistakes that I made and do not repeat them. Because life is going to be hard enough.
Yeah.
than, reliving and repeating something you saw your
Yeah.
parents do, you know?
I want to mention too, and you said this, and it kind of piggybacks on what you're talking about. That basically you were doing the best that you could, right? And I think, I don't know if I mentioned it on here, or it was a conversation outside of here, but I think oftentimes we ignore or negate or act like it's not a big deal, but that's a form of honoring yourself, is realizing with the information that I have been given, what I was taught, where I am with the trauma, everything today, and the
Mhm.
decisions that you made,
Mhm.
I did the best that I can. I tell people all the time, we don't
Sure.
come here with a guidebook on, how to live my life as the
Mhm.
Bray Marie. You didn't come with a how to live your life as a Yolanda. We don't. So
Mhm.
mistakes are going to happen. Decisions are going to happen. We're, we should learn from them, right? I always take
Mhm.
that Nelson Mandela. You either win or you learn. You never lose. So from that
Right.
perspective, we have to say I did the best that I can with what I had at that moment. And
Right.
sometimes we beat ourselves up like I should have known better. I shouldn't have done that, or why did I stay so long, or why did I accept that? I did the best that I can. And I think we have to honor ourselves from that perspective. And that's why
Yes.
one of the I honor me affirmations is I honor my past, present, and future. I have
Mhm.
to honor my past and whatever that looked like, right? Good,
Yes.
bad, or indifferent. I have to honor my experience and not curse my experience, not hate my experience, not hate
Yes.
myself, because that's where the low self-esteem, that's where
Yes.
the not taking care of your health, your physical, mental health, that's where all of that stuff derives from, is beating yourself up. But
Mhm.
we have to change the perspective and the narrative that I did the best I could at that moment.
Right. And I mean,
Yes.
being a teenage mom with two kids,
Yes.
um, getting pregnant while a senior in high school
Mhm.
in a Catholic school.
My gosh.
Imagine,
Yes, the sisters
I
probably
mean,
were hot.
pause right there. Um,
Yes.
and I went to a Catholic high school. I was pregnant my senior year. Excuse me. And I'm slurping. Oh my God.
You're fine.
I was an honor student.
Hmm.
One moment. Ooh, excuse me. I was an honor student, pregnant. I remember my mother coming to the school because back in the day, I'm older. If you were pregnant in high school, no matter what high school you went to, but especially a Catholic school, they sent you to a school for girls who were pregnant.
Yeah.
That was automatic. So I was nervous. I couldn't hide my pregnancy any longer. My mom went to the school, sat down. I'll never forget this. And um, Sister Mary, Sister Mary, I know that's a common name for nuns, but her name was
Yeah. Yeah. Sister Mary.
looked at my mom and said, "We wouldn't think of putting her out of this school."
Wow.
And I paused because I'm sitting in the, like, there's a seat. My mom's sitting up here and there's a seat behind her. I remember this vividly. And I'm nervous because I just knew that I was going to have to leave my friends. I'm doing well, and I would have to go to a school that was stigmatized.
Yes.
This school was, oh, if you went to this school, you're a horrible person because you were
Hmm.
pregnant as a teenager.
Yeah.
And she said, we wouldn't think of.
Wow.
And graduated on a National Honor Society. I
Wow.
graduated 7 months pregnant. I walked across the stage.
Wow.
And, understanding, not understanding in the moment how huge that was. And then having, another child right after, because again, I think we discussed this last week. And I know you said, doing the best you can, not even understanding how to honor my body as a teenager.
Yes.
So if you're a teenager, and I know I'm pausing and I'm trying to speak
You're
specifically
fine.
to people, if you're a teenager, if you're, a preteen, and you find yourself in those compromising positions and you find yourself not understanding how to make a decision that could impact the rest of your life, pause, stop,
Yep.
think. And then I jump on this side, Deborah, because I'm a firm believer, and I said this before, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
all things work together, not
All.
some things,
All.
all things.
Yes.
My children were the best thing and are the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yes.
Because Miss Yolanda
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have been sitting here with you because I was headed probably down a path, even as a PK, working in the church, singing in the church, serving in the church. But I had thoughts, oh, I'm going to go to school. I always said I was going to move to California and be an actress. That was my dream as a child.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was probably headed where I probably would have ended up somewhere in a horrible place in life. My children saved my life.
Yeah.
Doing the best I could with what I knew how to
Yes.
do back
Yes.
then.
Yes. Yes. And you have to honor that again, because, a lot of times, people say, my kids were never a mistake, which I agree that children are a blessing, and we might not understand in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially as a teen mom, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to navigate this? I have this child, I'm a teen, and then, got pregnant again. How am I going to do this? But like you said, if
Right.
we look at the perspective that everything works out for my good,
Mm-hmm.
we might not understand it in the moment,
You
but
don't.
when you look back on it, and that's why I say you have to honor your past, right?
Yes.
Because looking back on it, it's all part of our journey. And I think a lot of times we get so stuck on, again, the things we couldn't control,
Mm-hmm.
or the things maybe we could have controlled, but without the full knowledge. We
Right.
did the best we could, and then things happen. But we have to acknowledge and honor our past,
Mm-hmm.
because we wouldn't be in our present without our past. Like,
Exactly.
you and I have had this talk that there are times where uh, I don't understand everything that I've been through and all the things I've experienced. And I'm like, God, okay, that's enough. Like, seriously, that's enough. But I also understand on the other side of it that me sitting in this seat, me being able to have these conversations, me being able to connect to everybody that I've connected to on I Honor Me would not, and I listen, would not happen without the experiences. And like
Yes.
you and I talk about it, I've had a spoken and unspoken connection with all of my guests,
Mm-hmm.
especially these one-on-one sessions that I've had. And most of the time is a connection that I don't even know about,
Yeah.
because of similar experiences, right? So if I don't honor my past, and I curse my past, again, I wouldn't be here. And so
Exactly.
we have to be grateful and show gratitude and understand that everything works for my good and in my favor, regardless of the situation. And again, I think if we honor ourselves from those perspectives, then it's easier for us, like you said, the conversation with your children. Learn from what I did, but also understand I did the best. And that's even a healing thing for adult children.
Yes.
Um, sometimes even some of the stuff we experience as children, and then we grow up as adults, and we don't understand, well, why did this happen? Well, my mom should have did this, or my dad should have did this, or we don't fully understand and grasp, and then we have this false concept, or we have this hurt and this pain that we're walking around with, but not even seeming to understand that they did the best that they could with what they had.
Yes.
We might
Yes.
not even have an inkling of what our parents experience. And so that's why I said we have to honor and deal with these things, but even honor your parents. And that's probably why it's in the Bible the way it is about honoring because we
Yes.
don't know. And even
You
if you
don't
have a
know.
conversation with your parents, I
Yes.
guarantee you there's especially the older
Older
generation, they're still going to
generation.
shelter you
Yes.
and
Yes.
protect you and still not tell you
Yes.
everything out of means of not wanting to change your perspective on people or change your perspective on them. And so, yes, we have to take a seat back and honor the past, honor our parents,
Mhm.
understand they did the best that they could. I'm doing the best that I can. And not using it as an excuse, but
Right.
I'm going to learn. I'm
Yes.
learning and I'm growing from this seat. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and I wanted to also mention, you mentioned for teenagers that are listening,
Mhm.
and people, even young adults that are listening and making decisions that might
Right.
not be the smartest decisions.
Right.
I love that you said pause. And again, I'm the type of person, I've always been this type of person. I'm the youngest of five, and for the most part I've always been able to learn from my siblings and their decisions and their, whatever.
Mhm.
Some people aren't like that, and they have to hit the brick wall themselves, unfortunately. um, but take heed and listen. And that's why I have these I Honor Me chats, because these are people with experience that are coming on here. And so if you're on here, that means you survived everything that we're talking about and you're here
Mhm.
for a reason. But you said take a pause. And I think that's so important because even, and everybody knows I'm a nurse, so sometimes things come to me and tie it into medical. Um, we do a medical timeout before we do a procedure or before surgery, right? And the reason why they
Mhm.
do that is because there's been so many instances where the wrong surgery was performed or something was,
Mhm.
so they had to put something in place. So
Mm.
the pause, or taking a personal timeout is maybe what we should call it, or I Honor Me timeout.
Mhm.
Take a moment to pause. I think we get so busy and
Mm.
so wrapped up in doing stuff and feeling like, um, I have to make a decision right now. I have to do this. I have to do that. And that's actually something. Thank you. I want to mention. Take the pressure off. Like, pace yourself.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going here, but I have to. For me, what I've been dealing with, I've had to take some of the pressure off and tell myself I can pace myself. I don't have to make a decision or do this right away. No, it's okay
Mhm.
to process. It is
Yes.
okay to take a timeout.
Yes. Wow.
If the medical field does it because of mishaps, right?
Mhm.
Because people did not do the timeout, which is why they've implemented. Take an
Mhm.
I Honor Me timeout
I just
for
wrote that
yourself.
down.
Yes.
Just wrote
Take
it.
an I Honor
Does
Me
it honor,
pause.
ask, does it honor me? The decision
Yes.
that I'm about to make, does that honor my life? Will I see myself being honored in this situation, in this decision that I'm about to make, with someone I'm dating, with friends that
Yes.
I'm allowing into my circle, a
Yes.
decision about work that I'm about to make, um,
Yes.
a financial decision. Does it honor me? You're Deborah. This is the most profound thing, and I'm so happy because you can take everything in your life and you can connect it to, is, am I honoring myself?
Yes. Yes.
And not
Yes.
feel bad about
Yes.
honoring yourself.
Yes.
Because we're important. God made us.
Yes.
If He made us, we serve other people, but He didn't forget about us.
No.
He didn't want you to forget about yourself, because if you're
No.
not, it's just like a caregiver who is caring for someone. If they're not caring for themselves first, just like you made the analogy about the example about the airplane. What do they
Yes.
tell you in the case of an emergency? Make sure
But
you put the mask
yes.
on yourself first, and then your child or those around you if you need to assist someone.
Yes.
Because if we're not together, we're no good for no one else. So
No.
every decision you make, whether again it's relational, whether it is financial, whether it's spiritual, whatever it is, if you're honoring yourself, you're honoring God.
Absolutely. Goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand.
Yes.
If you're
Yes.
setting the boundaries that will honor you, guess what? He's okay with that. And
Yeah.
you need to be intentional about now making decisions and asking, I just wrote, does that honor me?
Yes.
Can I say I honor me out of this decision that I just made?
And that, honestly, it this goes really with all, and we're gonna do a I Honor Me community. We're gonna do a series on the it's not dimensions, but the components of I Honor Me. And because I Honor Me, it's and that's why I had somebody on here with finances. It's like you said, every decision in all these areas: physical, mental, emotional, financial, relationship. And if we, focus on taking an I Honor Me pause and say,
Mhm.
this financial decision, is this honoring me?
Mhm.
Is somebody calling me asking me for money? Let's just use that example.
Mhm.
And it can put me in a financial bind, or I keep doing this and it's really enabling them and it's not teaching them.
Mhm.
Is this me saying this? Yes. Is this going to honor me or dishonor
Right.
me? So,
Right.
and I think, man, that is so good, because this just hit right now, but because really we get so where we answer right away. Yes. Yes, I can do it.
Yes.
Yes. Or yeah, where we're not pausing. That
Yeah.
pause can bring you back to a reality that says, no, no, is this honoring me?
Can I pause right there for a
Yes,
moment?
ma'am.
And I just want to say this because I know we're up against time, and you and I thought we weren't even going to fill the
I
time, but
know, right? Right.
um, today is a special day. Not a special day. It's a sad day, I should say. Today is the 12th anniversary of my mom passing away,
Wow.
and you just said something that Arlene would do all the time. So my mom was one of the most giving. I'm not even going to get into that because those who know her know the type of person that she was. But one
Yes.
thing my mother did, and she did this all the time. I don't care if it was with her children or someone in the church or someone off the street. One moment. I have something in my throat.
It's all right.
It's okay. So someone would ask her for something, money.
Mm-hmm.
My mother would never ever say yes right away.
Mm.
Never.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, I rarely saw my mother, somebody ask for something, and she says yes or no. And trust me, she said no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she would say, these were her famous words. She would be on the phone, somebody's asking for something, she'll say, "Let me call you back," and she would hang up. Anyone who knows my mom knows my mother never said bye. Like if you talk to all of
Yeah.
her former
Yeah.
members, they would say, "Nope, you called her." You just hear click because she never ever ever said bye.
Okay.
So she would say, "Let me call you back," and the next thing you know, you hear the click because she was actually pausing to see, is this the right thing to do? Should I give this money? Should I give them everything that they ask for? Because
Yeah.
sometimes she would say, "I'm not going to give you all of it. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
give you half of it."
Yes. Yeah.
Because so, oh my God, my mother knew how to honor herself without even with the low self-esteem and how my mom grew up and her as a child and not knowing her mother. She learned, and if you're a minister and you're a pastor of a church for over 40 years, you learn how to honor yourself without even speaking. I honor myself without even
Yes.
saying it.
Yes.
So she was
Yes.
very intentional about pausing before she gave anybody anything. Sometimes she would never give you the entire amount.
Yeah.
Sometimes she would. And then sometimes she would say, "Nope, I'm not going to do it."
Mm-hmm.
Honoring. And
Yes.
it's just crazy because, you know, her passing, I'll say this is how I get through it. She is in, like, there's no more pain, there's no more
Yes.
suffering. And all of the work that God had for her to do, she did it. She completed the work. And
Yes.
so I take, that's how I deal with it on a daily basis. But just thinking about what you said, every decision that we make, are we honoring ourselves? Arlene did that. She
You know,
did it.
and how beautiful, because I don't even know how we fully got here, but in the whole money thing just dropped on me. But how beautiful that I would say those words, but you have mentioned, that she was honored and everybody loved her and knew her. So from that perspective, but how beautiful is it that in this moment you can put a name on it that she honored herself.
So
and
true.
to hold on to that, to know, wow, like there wasn't a name for it. Like we keep talking,
Nope.
give it a name.
Yes.
There wasn't a name for it. But as you start, and that's why I said, once you put this honor out there and start thinking about I honor me, and that's why I wanted to do a recap, even just how your week went. Once you put it out there, then you have no choice but to see it.
Yes.
You have no choice but
So
to
true.
identify,
Yep.
wow, that was an I honor me moment. Or wow, like now I'm thinking about it concerning my mom. She really honored herself on a consistent basis, where
Yes.
and again, children are watching, your children are watching, and so you watch that, and now here you can sit in this moment and speak about it. But we don't really always understand. People are watching. People are always watching, whether it's your children, whether it's your friends, family, colleagues. People are always watching. And so, like, really just be intentional and like, no, I am honoring myself, taking that pause, like your mom was doing it, taking the pause and saying, how's this, gonna honor me or dishonor me?
Right.
And I really do believe if we take the I honor me pause and take that moment to really identify how, if that's honor or dishonor, then we can start even changing, the decisions that we're making and being intentional, or being able to set those boundaries.
Right. So true.
Because I think, again, it's hard to set boundaries if you're so fast at responding.
Yes. And we're so, we're in that world where it's this. We want we want a response, and we want to provide a response. But if we take a pause, I am now going to name it the I honor me pause.
I am too.
And see, is this, something that is going to impact my life in a positive way or a negative way, where I can look back and say, I'm proud I made that decision? Or am I going to look back and say, oh my God, what a decision, and I've dishonored myself?
Yes. And it's the simplest of things. And I go back to even like we talked about this week, when you've made some decisions career wise, and same thing with me working out. And again, that's why God said, I want you to say, I honor me when you do it. Because in those moments, I could have made the decision to not do that. Yeah. But no, I did. I paused. I didn't realize it was a pause, but I did pause, and I said, no, you're going to take yourself upstairs. You're going to go change, and you're going to go do this. No matter how you feel, but because I'm going to feel empowered. And that was a decision that honored me. Right. I knew in that moment, I even did a little quick recording. I even knew in that moment that was a moment of honoring me.
Yes. Yes.
From making the decision to doing the action.
Exactly. And the one thing, and this is why I don't ever want you to stop, because consistency is the key.
Yes.
If we do not consistently and intentionally and put it in the forefront of our minds to honor ourselves on a daily basis or a weekly, I'm not just saying, I understand life happens. I mean, absolutely. Sometimes life happens and you're just trying to get through the day. But please don't forget, even if you did not intentionally set that time, or you did something that would honor you on that day, make sure you do it the next day.
Yeah.
Make sure I love this pause thing. I love where you can literally say the next day, you know what? I didn't really do anything that, I didn't laugh yesterday. Why was everything so serious? What was happening around me that I forgot about me?
Yes.
And it's not being selfish, people.
It's not. It's not.
It's not being selfish.
It's not. But again, that's a very easy and practical way of honoring yourself, is to, again, life. And that's why it's a journey, and it's not a light switch, and it's not a one-time thing. That's why I've been consistent and intentional with this community and posting and everything else, because I want everybody to understand that it is not a one-time thing. No. And things happen, life happens, but take a pause, take the moment, and the next day. I mean, sometimes even evaluate and say, you know what, actually, even though I did nothing yesterday or whatever, there were still parts of that where I honored myself. There were moments, even if just doing affirmations. But if you relaxed in the bed all day and did absolutely nothing, that was still a form of honoring yourself, because obviously you needed the rest.
Right.
right? And
Right.
so try and look for the moments of honor.
Yes.
Look, do a self-evaluation, do a self-assessment of how did I honor myself over this last week? Like you
Mhm.
said, in journaling, like how did
Mhm.
I honor myself yesterday, or how am I going to honor myself in the next couple of days? Set a plan of honor actions.
Yeah.
What
Wow.
I'm going to do to set myself up uh, for honor this week. Really, what and if you need to put that affirmation on your mirror about the I honor me pause, do it, because I'll make something for
Yes.
that. That might be a shirt coming out soon. But but
Yes.
but yeah, just find honor. Maybe over this next week, just find ways of honoring yourself.
So
Again, if that has to do with digging into past and honoring your past and really honoring your past, honoring your present, and
yes.
looking for your future,
Yes.
sit with that.
Yeah.
I think it's so crucial to do that, and it's simple. And again, the thing about honor and honoring yourself really just takes intentionality. It doesn't really take money. It doesn't
No.
really take.
No.
It takes a decision, and it
Yes.
takes.
Yes. It takes, and it can be small. It can be, um, I don't know. Some people, like when we say, I want people to understand when we say I honor me, I don't want you to think that you have to go out and, buy like a $1,500 purse, or,
That part.
that you need to do something that costs so much money and you feel like, oh, I'm honoring me. Or
Right.
that it borders that narcissistic side where,
Yes.
I'm honoring me, get away.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, that is not,
No. No.
that is actually dishonoring yourself.
It
Okay.
is. It is.
Honoring yourself, like you said, if it's just, what, for me, I'm going to sleep past 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mighty God.
Me, because I get
Yeah.
up every morning at 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know why. My daughter's like, Mom, you need to see somebody about that. You have insomnia. Something's wrong. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just my internal clock. I'm up.
Mhm.
Sometimes before 4, and I can't go back to sleep. And I have like
Yeah.
this whole day. But even if it's like, what? If I'm up at 4 and I'm not going to get out of my bed until I hear Bailey downstairs like whining because she needs to go outside, I'm going to just lay here.
Yes.
I'm just going to just lay and be in the moment, be present.
Yes.
Because sometimes I feel like, Deborah, and this is so good for me to pause and honor me even in that. Because sometimes I feel like when I'm up, I'm a type
I,
A, you're a type A because you're
yes.
a
Yep.
nurse. Um,
Yes.
I feel like I got to get up and start doing things. I'm
Yes.
up early. Okay, what can I do? I can mop. Oh, nobody's up, so I can mop the floor. Oh, okay, no, I can wash clothes. Let me put some towels in it.
Mhm.
I'm always trying to think of something to do instead of just
Yeah.
saying, be still.
Yes.
Just
Pause.
calm down. Just
Pause.
pause, because
Yes.
now you're honoring yourself when you just pause.
Yes. Yes.
I
I think
love
we get
it.
so caught up on, like you said, we have to always be doing something.
Yes.
And that's why we make
Yes.
decisions so fast, because we feel like that's just the trajectory of our day. We got to go like this. And for
Yes.
me and a lot of people, I multitask, which is even
Yes.
worse.
Yes.
So not only am I doing something, I'm always doing something else, whether you
Yes.
know it or not. There's multiple things going on.
Yes.
So saying that, and yeah, sometimes just laying in the bed, even if you're up, um, sometimes just laying in the bed, listening to music, meditating, having mindfulness,
Mhm.
just laying there, playing your solitaire, whatever that is, and
Yes.
saying, you
Play
know what,
myself.
I don't have to jump out of the bed. I
Yes.
don't have to, because my mother is the same way. She doesn't. I don't. She it varies, but my mom gets up with the chickens. And so I think many years ago she would get up and go, and sometimes she still does. But there's been a few times where I've known that my mother had just laid in the bed and rested. I pulled up on her a couple weeks ago, and she had a long weekend, worked in the morning, and was relaxing in her bed. When I came over, and I was like, wait, what? My mother's in the bed? Like, this is not, and she's not sick? What
Yes.
is this?
Yep.
Because this is not my mother. But I was
Yes.
so proud of her, because I'm like, Mom, like you don't realize we've been trying to get you to do this for yourself,
Yeah.
and now you're doing it. And now I'm like, God, she doesn't. This is honor, Mom. You are honoring yourself
Yeah.
by doing nothing but watching your shows, laying in the bed and relaxing when she just wants to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, just pause, just be present in the
Yes.
moment,
Yeah.
pause, and allow yourself to accept that honor. It's that is a form of honor.
Yes, it is.
So
I feel bad. Like, I get up and I'm at the grocery store when it opens.
my mother too. Yeah.
I'm there at like 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, oh my God, it's already six. But I really, I love that. Just pause. I mean, when I tell my girls I slept until 6, they're like, what? They're like
Yeah.
you with your mom because it's unusual for us because we're
Yes.
so used to getting up and moving and moving. And
Yes.
sometimes that's a form of dishonor because guess what? We're not being still enough
Yes.
to
Yes.
even hear, to
Yes.
think, to kind of pause and kind of figure out, okay, where am I? What am I doing
Yes.
today?
Yes.
Because we just want to go, 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 go. So that's a form of dishonoring ourselves.
Yes.
So I love that.
Yeah.
I
If
love
you're
that.
always busy, you can't hear. You
Yep.
can't it's hard to find peace and
Yes.
rest and relaxation and getting rejuvenated and refreshed if and I know we're about to end, but even for women, I think we have it like worse than men because my
Mhm.
husband says this all the time, but we do when it comes to it's hard for me to shut off my mind.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
So that's why I said even just laying there, sometimes, like I said, even I'm multitasking even if I'm sitting there and it looks
Mhm.
like I'm not. There's different checklists over here, there's more checklists over here. If I'm on the computer, he hates it, but I got 50 tabs up. Like I'm always, it's very hard for me to close it all in. And so yeah, just try and shut off the noise. That's why I like meditation music where it's just instruments, or my white noise machine where it's just listening to the ocean, because it centers you. It makes you just have to be present in the moment and really not worry about all these other things. And it's
Right.
okay. And I think we put so much pressure on ourselves. I got to get up, I got to go to the grocery store, I got to do this, I got.
Yes.
But who says that? Who's
Yeah.
monitoring that? Who said,
Right.
you know,
Right.
you're gonna get
Who's
written up, or
monitoring?
yeah, yeah, who's monitoring you?
Yes. I
Because
think
we
that's
put
why
so
my
much pressure.
Yes, we do. I think that's why playing solitaire again, like I told you, I used to do it years ago. I find myself just concentrating on that,
Yes.
not thinking because I am this. Oh my God, Deborah, I'm thinking, okay, okay, I have this on my brain. I'm doing this. I'm on my computer. Okay, sometimes I'm on my computer and on my phone at the same time,
Me too. Oh, and my iPad,
and I'm
literally.
like, why am I doing like?
Mhm.
I would literally say to myself, put your phone down
Yes, yes,
or
yes.
close the computer.
Mhm.
And just when I play solitaire, it's almost like I shut everything down.
Mhm.
And then my mind is able to then I start to get tired. Then I can
Yeah.
then I'm like, okay, because other than that, sometimes I'll lay there and I'm like, I still can't go to sleep. It's
Mhm.
because my mind is still racing.
Yep. And
And
I want to say this too, again before we end. Sometimes, and I think this was in one of the sessions I taught, sometimes we even have to create routines for ourselves, and
mm,
like nighttime routines, and even sometimes morning routines. That way we kind of can set ourselves up for success, to bring ourselves down, right,
wow.
and then to
Yeah.
gradually bring ourselves back up in the morning.
Yes.
Routine of laying in the bed. I'm gonna, my routine is I wake up, I don't jump out of the bed, I'm going to pray, I'm going to listen to my music, I'm going to start my day with, my affirmation, that type of thing. And same thing at
Yes.
night, like try and come up with a night. And it sounds so, like I said, I was so happy when I finally didn't have to take naps as a kid. And, I didn't have to go to bed at a certain time, but really that we mess ourselves up
Yep.
because we get
Yes.
out of routine of, preparing our bodies to
Yep.
rest, preparing our
Yes.
bodies to relax. We have this busy day and constantly go go go, and then we just need to go lay down, go to sleep. It doesn't work for me because my
It
brain
doesn't
is
work.
still on
Yes.
300.
Yep.
Like what are we doing next? So come up with maybe a nighttime routine. Come up with a morning routine where it helps ease your night into rest and relaxation, and start your morning with rest and peace and meditation and mindfulness.
Right.
So maybe that might be um, a
I
tool.
like
So
that.
Before I end, I just want to open it to you if you have anything else you would like to share with the community before we end our session tonight.
The only thing that I want to say is that, first of all, I want to thank you again. This has been um, so helpful, and just it has allowed me to just really just discuss things sometimes that I only discuss with my family. But
Yes.
I want to help someone. I want someone to understand that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to give
Yes.
it a name. It's okay
Yes.
to confront trauma. It's okay that, like you said, and I love this, that you've done the best you could back in your past, and honor your past, honor where you are right now, and honor what's about to come for you,
Yes.
because you're honoring your past and your present.
Yes.
I want to thank you again. I mean, I don't even know, like, I feel like I'm nobody.
Oh,
Like, what does she
please.
want me? And just, I love what you said about a night routine, because I have a morning, but I don't have a night. So thank you. But I
Yes.
just, all the listeners, if you're I mean, if you're listening to this now, or, if you replay it again, again, I'm going to just stress this. Follow the I Honor Me page on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
I think I just follow on Instagram. I have to follow on Facebook. I'm on Instagram more than I am on Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, it is so important to speak those affirmations
Yes.
until they become a part of you. We can
Yes.
say whatever we want out of our mouths. We can just say it. But when you allow something to become a part of you,
Yes.
you start to see change.
Yes, you do.
Your routines will change, because you will, and I will say this moving forward, you will take an I Honor Me pause
Yes.
before any decision is made in any
Yes.
aspect of your life. So,
Yes.
again, thank you, thank
Yes.
you, thank you.
Yes. Yes. This has been amazing. Like I say all the time, these chats help me, and it's organic. I have questions, sometimes we don't even get to them because the way it just flows. And
Yes,
I honor you, and I appreciate you for being vulnerable, being transparent, and to give your story and your testimony, because again, we overcome by our
yes,
testimonies. A lot of times we feel shamed or feel like we can't talk about our stories, and
mhm,
it's a bad thing. And but again, it's a part of honoring
yes,
yourself,
yes,
and appreciating yourself, and realizing what the Lord has allowed you to survive. So again, I honor you for being on here twice in a row. And again, some of the things that we came up with, the I Honor Me pause, that brilliant. I Honor Me actions, another brilliant. So
yes,
thank you so much for your input, for being on here. I do want to remind the community of the recommendations that she said last week, because again, I think they were phenomenal, and I think it's something we can continue to do. So the first recommendation was to set boundaries,
mhm,
saying no, and no is your answer without an explanation,
mhm,
and not feeling bad for it.
yep,
I think that's a really imperative recommendation. And then the second recommendation was your prayer life and having a relationship with God,
yes,
and being still enough to listen.
yes,
Again, if that is in the morning when you wake up, instead of jumping out of the bed, having that mindfulness and that quiet time where you can hear and listen, and prepare and set your day up, commanding your day for what you want your day to be. And then finding
yes,
something to laugh about, and the humor. And then we talked about tonight how that goes hand in hand with gratitude, and putting
yes,
those together, being grateful, and finding things to laugh and be excited about, and things that are funny, whether it's a show, whether it's your dogs, your animals, whatever makes you laugh, do it. And just be curious and open to laughter, because it really does bring the good hormones out for you.
yes,
um,
it does.
and then I'm just gonna add on to that, just the I Honor Me pause
Yeah,
that we discovered tonight. Take a pause before making decisions, and ask yourself, is this honoring me,
right.
making this decision, or is this going to dishonor me? And then we'll talk about this more, but I Honor Me action, set a plan.
Mhm,
Whether you're a person that likes to use planners like me, or just set yourself up saying, you know what, this week, this is what I'm going to do to honor myself. I'm going to start back journaling. I'm going to start back working out. I'm going to be consistent and intentional in these areas to set myself up to make sure that I'm honoring myself on a consistent basis.
Right.
So that's what I would put out there for the community. Thank you again so much, Yolanda, for being on here. This has been incredible. This has been great. Again, before we end, we are going to do our I Honor Me affirmations.
Yes.
But like you said, please like, share, follow the Facebook page as well as YouTube page. All of that is on the platforms, and I'll put it on there again in the comments. But let's get to our I Honor Me affirmations, and then we'll get out of here. So I will say them, and then I will have you repeat them after me. So I honor my body, mind, and spirit.
I honor my body, my mind, and my spirit.
I honor my strengths and weaknesses.
I honor my strengths and my weaknesses.
I honor my past, present, and future.
I honor my past, my present, and my future.
I honor my journey and my destination.
I honor my journey and my destination.
I honor me.
I honor me.
Yes.
Love
Thank
it.
you so much again. I love you, community. I'm here for you always. Reach out to me if you guys need anything. We will be back again for another I Honor Me chat. So you guys take care and have a beautiful night.
Yes.
See you later.